Hello and welcome to Nick's Painting channel, where I will be providing tips and tricks and testing an upload to YouTube. Tip number 1. When you test fit your model, test fit all the pieces together at the same time, or else this can happen to you. Yeah, the peg fits fine, but the cape was supposed to go under the pauldron, something I will surely fix later. So yeah, we'll be painting this cat after my own cat, Kelsier. Using a variety of paints and kind of doing whatever I want, since the goal here is mainly to test an upload to YouTube. I'll also be going with a very minimal color scheme, using one warm color and mostly cool colors. These are the Pro Acryl paints that I'm using. They're the Signature series because I like these YouTube channels, and I really like the Pro Acryl paints. And the model we're painting here today is a cat figure, a cat knight from Blood Carrot Knights. I've had this model for a while, and I'm finally getting ahead to painting it. Here is just a base coat of Payne's Gray. This model I'm going to be just kind of winging it. Normally I would have something of a plan, but the goal of this video is to test recording, test editing, and test uploading to YouTube for videos that I plan on doing in the future. Have the STLs from the Stormlight Miniatures Kickstarter. So I have those printing, and I figured I would really like to start a YouTube channel, and I was somewhat inspired by the last secret project to do more with my painting hobby. The main character in Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, at least one of the main characters, shares my name and is also a painter. So thus we have Nick the Painter, the YouTube channel, secret Cosmere reference, but it's also just literally my name. Let's see here that I'm using a paint mixer. You may also notice that my light blue paint that I'm using here did not mix very well. Despite some vigorous shaking. I'm not sure what happened there, but it's no matter here. I'm planning on using the light blue to just adjust the coolness of the white. This coat here is end up being a little bit too blue, but that's alright. I'm going to be going over it with more of the dark ivory later on. This camera setup is temporary. I had already ordered up, that's my thumb in focus, an overhead camera mount. This is what I had to work with, and I wanted to get a test video up and produced. And it's not bad most of the time. It is just a little bit too close for my comfort. I've hit the, up here I'm going into the eyes. I've hit the camera with the tip of the end of my brush a few times. And it spends a little bit too much time in my peripheral to be comfortable for painting. That did end up working for these close-up shots. The model's not quite in focus here, but you get a great shot of my thumbnail. Guess that's less a fault of the camera mount than my phone, but it's doing the best it can. Here I'm redoing the chin. It was a little too blue for my taste. I did want to work blue into most of the model here, just to make things look cold and cool. I could have added a little bit into the brown leather here, but I just wanted this base coat down. It's helpful to base coat these separating areas like the belt and the sword hilt. Here I'm going over the fur with Intensity Black, adding a bit of flow improver. Yep, that's the bottle. Flow improver to help that run and have a little bit of that Payne's Gray showing through. It doesn't show up on camera very well. The Payne's Gray is very dark on camera. But this is basically a very dark wash. And this is really me just testing the wash out again. It's practically just going to recolor the fur black. But that's what I want. I want just a little bit of that color to poke through. Khasur does in fact have black fur, not blue-gray. But a little bit of that color showing through just creates interest. There's not much to say for the legs. I don't spend a lot of time on the legs. I'm just getting kind of an idea of how I want to do transitions on the armor, which I don't get to right away because I want to let it settle for a little bit before I finalize that. So as we get to one of the more fun parts of the model, I'm going to be painting the reflections in, I believe, a non-metallic metal style. I'm going to be describing what I want to do with the YouTube channel. Again, this is more of a test video to test audio, video production, and my camera setup. But for future videos, I plan on having tutorials where I explain how I do things such as this, though I'm not an expert on it, so I'm still practicing techniques. That's the other goal of this YouTube series, is to reinforce things that I've picked up over the years but haven't really practiced. When I do a formal tutorial video for something like this, I'll be doing a deep dive into how to do the technique before showing others how to do it in video form. This sword, for instance, I am doing a gradient from very dark blue to an off-white on one half of the sword, trying to replicate a similar effect on the other half, and then creating I'll spend a lot of time fiddling with this gradient, all with the goal of creating a sword reflection. You can see I occasionally test the flow of paint on my thumb there. That's great for when you're trying to get fine lines, like on the edge of the blade right there. Here I'm working with a very, very thin black paint. So you can see water had dripped off the end of my brush. But I soon wipe off all the paint and use a wet brush to just kind of push it along and work it into the gradient. Upping the contrast here will help sell that this is a metallic object. So this is interesting. This clip just seems to be frozen on this frame. That's why we do a test. In the next video, we'll be testing a different camera setup and a different workflow. So hopefully we'll see some steady improvement as I roll these out in preparation for the real job. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you're looking forward to future content.